Hello, this is Hot Indonesia, the show that tells the world just what we're thinking in this country. I'm Dalton Tanonaka in Jakarta. Here is this week's HI Hotlist. COVID campaign. Candidates are dying. Jakarta's leaders are infected. Cases at record highs. What's going on? Lobster Trap. Corruption suspects now include a cabinet member and some mayors. Is the enforcement tide turning? And K-pop crazy. Just why are Indonesian fans still so wild for Korean music groups? Here are my co-hosts each and every week. Sanjina Malakiano, Deputy CEO of Polmark Indonesia from her home in South Tangerang. And Sandiaga Uno, former Vice Governor of Jakarta, on the road again, this time in this country in Cirebon in West Java. Hot topic number one, COVID campaign. Nationwide regional elections are next week with voting to be held in 270 areas. But critics have been calling for postponement because of the coronavirus pandemic, fearing mass spreading when voters go to the polls. And to illustrate the dangers, the governors of Jakarta and Riau confirmed infections this week, and several other public officials have died of the virus in the past few months. Now, cases past 550,000, more than 17,000 dead. Sandy, is it time to pull what's called the emergency brake and get back to a stricter lockdown?
Well, it has been 9 months of the pandemic struggle. Human behavior is a major factor. State and local governments, as well as individual people, differ in their response to the pandemic. And if everyone continues to wear masks, wash their hands, and practice social distancing, reopening will have a much lower impact on transmissions of the virus. So in my opinion, we need to be guided by the data, and it's quite alarming that right now the governor, Pak Anies, Vice Governor Pak Ariza, both are infected by COVID. We need to make sure that with the vaccines coming in, we're not making sort of like a relaxed attitude, but we need to be more vigilant.
Yeah, Sanjina, we've been talking, and you've pointed this out yourself before. It's about the people, and as Sandy said, the people's attitude. Are people just not caring enough, and perhaps they are waiting for that so-called miracle vaccine?
I think we should not generalize all regions or areas, Dalton, as if the situation is same everywhere. As Sandy just mentioned, people respond differently. As you know, Polmark Indonesia has held many surveys in areas where local elections take place. And here are some of our findings. The level of fear or concern of becoming infected by the corona or COVID-19 virus or becoming victims of the pandemic is very high. Then in all places, the most important public issue right now is the loss or reduction of income, scarcity of job opportunities, the struggle to get basic necessities, and the worsening of the family's economy. The potency of participation in this upcoming 2020 election, namely to come and vote on the 9th of December, is relatively high in almost all regions. So amidst this pandemic, the people seem to be eager to vote. But each area has different levels of awareness and discipline in terms of implementation of health protocols.
Okay, vaccine aside, you made a good point, Sanjina, that maybe the attitudes of people are tied to the economics of their lives, having to work instead and having to ignore maybe protocols because they have to pay for their families, survive for their families. Now, Sandy, you've heard, and it's no secret that there will be leftover national budget for fighting the virus before the year ends. They didn't spend all the money they budgeted. I say, hey, use the money, maybe give people free testing until the money runs out. What would you do different, Sandy, if they can't give the money back to the people directly?
That's right, Dalton. We kept on Hot Indonesia, kept on saying that the government must be regulate to make sure that the money that is being budgeted got delivered to the people. I would say the helicopters money has been quite effective. We see that the fourth quarter, and I'm here at the heartland of Java, in Cirebon, West Java, I think people are starting the economic life, their daily economic life is turning back 40 to 50% from normal. So, which is, I think, is a good sign, but still, we have to be very, very careful. We need to make sure that jobs are being created by way of these government programs needs to be executed. But now we have probably hundreds of trillions worth of government program not executed, and this is going to be a challenge for 2021.
Back to the elections for a sec. Would holding it maybe later be not a bad idea?
Oh, I think right now is way too late to discuss or question whether going forward with the election as scheduled on the 9th is a good idea or not, Dalton.
We're just talking about it. I mean, if they had a choice.
It's happening. But it would be more productive, though, for us if we talk about what should be done to prevent and avoid the possibilities of voting polls in 270 regions from becoming new COVID-19 clusters. You know, like strict implementations of health protocols on D-Day, don't allow gatherings of people in large numbers, wearing masks, social distancing is compulsory, sanitizers. Officials in charge must be given adequate safety equipment such as maybe face shields, masks, hand gloves. And those who violate the protocols must be sanctioned. I know in order to be able to closely keep an eye on all violations, of course, we will need a massive mobilization of officials. That's not going to be easy, but it is necessary for public safety. So aside from like in previous elections, monitoring usually is only to keep an eye on potential fraud or foul play. Now we have to also keep an eye on violations of health protocols.
Yeah, it's a tough job, but it's got to be done. Hot Indo will continue shortly. Lobster Trap. Has going after corruption finally become a priority? You're watching Hot Indonesia with Sandrina, Sandy, and me. Here's hot topic number 2, Lobster Trap. Corruption agents caught a big fish. Eddie Prabowo is the fisheries minister accused of taking nearly 10 billion rupiah or $700,000 in bribe money to lift a lobster larva export ban. 2 days later, on November 27th, the mayor of Cimahi in West Java was picked up on suspicion of bribe taking in a hospital project. Are these the signs of things to come or not? Sandrina, how significant are the national and local arrests?
Oh, okay. This is like looking at two sides of a same coin. On one side, the arrest of Minister Eddie Prabowo and Mayor of Cimahi shows us the grim facts in terms of corruption eradication in Indonesia. These arrests adds to the already long list of Reformation-era public officials who could not avoid being tempted, then fell into the corruption trap. Of course, this is a very bitter pill to swallow, but on the other side of the coin, the arrests of public officials, starting from regions, mayors, until governors and ministers, should be seen as proof, Dalton, that corruption eradication is still an ongoing agenda. The fight against corruption is real. It is not just a bogus slogan. So, do these arrests significantly show or prove the government's success in banishing corruption? First, is everyone or every case being treated equally in the face of the law, or are cases being handpicked selectively? If certain people or cases are being targeted based on political purposes while other perpetrators are protected or given leniency, then of course such arrests become insignificant. Eddie Prabowo from Gerindra has been captured, but for more than 9 months, PDIP politician, Harun Masiku, a corruption and bribery suspect, he remains at large. The Corruption Eradication Commission have not been able to capture or have not arrested him. And also, how thorough and complete are the arrests being carried out? If every case is handled appropriately, thoroughly, and arrests are done persistently, continuously until all corruptors can be brought to justice, then we can say that it is significant. If not, then everyone has the right to be skeptical. And
okay. Well, Sanjina, you're raising the issue of this being possibly a political move. Eddie Prabowo, as you mentioned, one of two Gerindra party leaders in the Jokowi cabinet, the other being, of course, Defense Minister Prabowo Subianto, who is chairman of the Gerindra party. Sandy, if I'm correct, you're still deputy chairman of Gerindra. People say this, let me ask you first, do you think this is at all politically targeted? And I'm hoping not.
I'm giving the benefit of the doubt to the commissions, and I think it's really unfortunate. It's really a shame that these corruption cases are now continuing to be exposed, and these are actually showing that years of eradicating corruption has not really been successful in educating and enforcing at the top level of government. So secondly, I think for Gerindra, yes, I'm still a deputy chairman of Gerindra. Gerindra has been very, very clear from day one that one of our platforms in developing this country is to ensure that government is being carried out with the best of governance, transparency, accountability, independence, responsibility, and fairness. So Edi Prabowo, it's my colleague from the party, but I think he should be, I guess, tried with the presumptions of innocence, of course. But this is something that we need to continue to push very hard, and making sure that it's not just Edi Prabowo, but other politicians, and Sandrina mentions figures who are close to the government, who have continued to be untouchables.
And just to be clear to people watching outside of this country, the names may sound similar, Edi Prabowo, Prabowo Subianto, but there's no relation to those two cabinet ministers. Sandrina, let's talk local a little bit. The case in West Java is notable because the two mayors before the current one were convicted of corruption. Is local politics here more dirty than national politics?
Well, since regional autonomy was implemented and the local elections were held, regencies and cities have indeed become the political locus in Indonesia. Locus means center of political arena. Related to this fact, we have some good news and some bad news. Okay, let's start with the bad news first. In many places, heads of local governments become some sort of little kings or little queens controlling the local government in an autocratic manner. Democratic norms set aside. Corruption flourishes. For some corruptions are related to local elections. Candidates who win the election then form transactional relations with those who provided support for them during the campaign or the election. So this is the beginning of a corruption and collusion process. The use of money politics is also quite commonly found in local elections. You see, candidates spend unbelievable sums of money to win an election, and after winning, he or she becomes tempted to regain all that money by means of corruption. Now, that's the bad side of local autonomy in elections, but don't forget, we do have some good news. Local autonomy gives capable and creative regional leaders the chance to rapidly develop the region. They could accelerate development. One phenomenal example is the development of Banyuwangi Regency in East Java under the leadership of Regent Abdullah Azwar Anas. Mas Sandi knows him well. Local autonomy also gives local leaders who possess integrity to build a clean government. They fearlessly fight politically to free the local government from corruption.
Okay, we've also talked about how critics say that anti-corruption efforts or the corruption laws were weakened in this past year. Sandy, you think these recent cases maybe were just to appease the public, or do you believe the president is as serious as he can be about fighting corruption?
I sincerely do hope that he's serious. And I spoke with Prabowo earlier in the week, and we both agreed that this is such an important agenda, because we need to clean up the government from all this type of corruption acts, because we are entering into a post-COVID economic era whereby we need to create lots of activities in investments and making sure that regulations cater towards job creations and prosperity of the people. So Gerindra side, I think this agenda is very, very clear, and I hope that people got the message. Stop doing such things. When you're a public officials, you should not be doing such things. This is really, really important. And I think with the emergence of new politicians, young politicians who are focused on running on clean platform, I think we will get a much better government, clean government going forward.
Yeah, younger political leaders like yourself. One real quick thing, Sandy. Your name has been circulating as possible replacement in the cabinet. Can you deny or confirm that right now? Just clear it up.
Well, I'm here in Cirebon, final days of campaign for the local elections. There is no conversations. We definitely focus on getting good results from the local elections, and I'm actually watching how the economy is now recuperating after the COVID or nearing to the vaccines arrival, but it's the prerogative of the president. So let him make the choice, and I think whoever going to take over the job at the ministry is going to face a tough time, because two ministers already from that ministry was arrested by the commissions.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you're leaving the door open there, my friend. Okay, more Hot Indo is ahead.
Let's go!
K-pop crazy. Why Indonesians and other fans can't get enough of these guys. You're watching Hot Indonesia from Jakarta and Cirebon. Here's hot topic number 3, K-pop crazy. BTS is the most successful pop group to come out of Korea's entertainment industry. Its latest album this month got 20 million views on YouTube in just 3 hours. The 7 young men have 30 million Twitter followers, and this single, Dynamite, entered the US at number 1 in August. Now, I went to a Girls' Generation concert in Jakarta a few years ago, 50,000 screaming fans in the stadium. The K-pop phenomenon is nothing new, but it seems to keep growing. Why, Sandy?
Korea has managed to deliver an economic miracle when it comes to creative economy. I think in less than half a century, they achieved an economic transformations that many would have considered impossible. From a country that is ravaged by war and poverty to world-class, high-tech OECD economy. And when you mention creative economy, BTS, Gangnam Style, they are promoting a new growth model based on innovations and entrepreneurship. So I'm seeing that nowadays Indonesia has arrived on a similar conditions. South Korea would be a good example for us to transform our economy.
Yeah, I wish we could create another BTS here. There have been attempts to do girl and boy bands here. BTS also a big business, Sandrina, as you know. Its label went public this past year, and it's now worth $6 billion, they say. So pandemic or no pandemic, this music group and others march on.
Yeah, honestly, I have to ask my youngest daughter to tell me about K-pop, as this is not my favorite kind of music. Don't get me wrong, their songs are really good, magnificent performers. Speaking about BTS, I think it stands for Beyond the Scene. This is indeed a phenomenal group. I read an article recently that said BTS contributed 50 billion rupiahs, that's in our currency, to the South Korean economy. They could be named the most successful K-pop boy band in the world. So they have hardcore fans around the world, as you said, including here in Indonesia. Why the music videos they produce are viewed by millions and millions of people. In total, the numbers could add up to billions of views. You mentioned their single Dynamite went straight to number 1 on the Hot 100 Billboard chart, something never achieved before by any other K-pop boy band or girl band. Why are they so phenomenal? Because the songs, for me, according to me, the songs they created have lyrics that relate to the current mental state of today's youngsters. They're not just a bunch of pretty faces, superb vocals, dancing abilities. So combination of great songs, excellent vocals, cool stage performance. Their shows are so attractive, and they're backed up by K-pop industry. And this industry has grown so strong, so big. Hopefully Indonesia, as Sandy said, could also make the creative industry as strong, as professional, backed by the government.
Yeah, like and their songs, as you said, besides being catchy, a lot of them have social messages. They try to put some contemporary issues in there,
Yep.
but the kids are not listening to them for that, really. I mean, they're just good-looking young men, and they're not boys. They're in their 20s to late 20s. You mentioned, and I mentioned it, Indonesia has had boy and girl bands in the past, none with lasting success. Sandy, were you ever in a boy band, Sandy? Do you ever consider it? Because you like music, you play guitar.
And he's good looking.
I was in a band, Dalton. I play the guitar, but during my time, the type of music is more headbanging, rock and roll with, I had a long hair, but I couldn't grow it long, so it grows like sideways and upward. So it's not as interesting as the guys on BTS now.
Feedback time now. We got an email from Suhor in Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam. I suggest your weekly duration extend to 60 minutes for more in-depth analysis. Well, thank you for wanting more, Suhor. We will consider that. And Sahlan posted this on the YouTube page of our partner TV1 on our debate over Indonesia's broad IT laws. There is no clear distinction between constructive criticism and humiliation. Well, that's one of the points we were trying to make, Sahlan. Here's how to contact us with your feedback. Email at hotindo@theindonesiachannel.com, and we're sending a t-shirt to Suhor in Vietnam for sending an email, or comment through our Hot Indonesia or Indonesia channel, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube pages, all of those. Final words, Sandrina.
Next Wednesday, December 9th, we will see local elections take place in 270 regions throughout Indonesia. 9 provinces, 37 cities, 224 regencies. 100,359,152 citizens listed as eligible voters. Casting a vote does not simply mean just punching a hole into a ballot. Voting means determining the future. So as responsible citizens, let's use this golden opportunity to make better regencies, better cities, better provinces, all for a better Indonesia.
And following health protocols while doing so. Okay, final words, Sandy.
I know everybody's excited with the elections as well as with the vaccines coming. And I've been touring the country, campaigning in Sumatra, eastern part of Indonesia, and now in Java. I'd like to remind everybody that please adhere to strict discipline of protocol, mask, hand washing, and social distancing. And vaccines may stop infections, but not the transmissions. So we need to make sure that we take proper care and we beat this COVID-19 once and for all.
And my final words, there's big concern here and around the world about the canceling of Christmas. Now, I'm really not sure what that means. The day itself honors the birth of a religion's important figure, but officials don't want friends and family to gather in large groups on the holiday because of COVID-19. Okay, but you can't cancel the good feelings and expressions of love that just about everyone enjoys. So celebrate even if you're alone. And that is Hot Indonesia for this week. For Sandrina Malakiano and Sandiaga Uno, I'm Dalton Tanonaka in Jakarta. Thank you for watching. See you next time.